Wow. Am I in
Greetings
there?
from the blue carpet on the GLAAD Media Awards. Let's check in with Randy Jones. Now, before we go forward, is it Colonel? Is it Randy Jones? Is it the original cowboy? What's the official one you like?
You are the... What kind of wonderful research do you do? You have found out that I am a Kentucky Colonel.
Yes,
but
I didn't want to say, let's meet Kentucky Colonel.
Well, let's say
the
Colonel
original
Cowboy, Commodore of the Port. Yeah, I am unofficially a Kentucky Colonel, but I think no matter what I do so far, and I don't know what I could do to surpass what I have done with the legacy with Village People, but I will always be the cowboy. Maybe, and I'm not Catholic, so I could never be elected Pope, but I think my legacy as being one of the Village People, as the cowboy from Village People, will probably be a wonderful, positive part of my legacy for my entire life, and I really am very happy and pleased about that. It gives me such an incredible legacy of career and work, but it gives me such a wonderful platform to work from, to work with the YMCA, to work with GLAAD, to work with organizations that help make progress every single year as far as human rights and equal rights go. And I think I've been very blessed to have that opportunity. And you go back to, as silly as it sounds, but I owe it all to Macho Man, YMCA, in the Navy, Go West, Can't Stop the Music, and 5 other guys, a construction worker, an Indian, a biker, a soldier sailor, and a cop, that we were all brothers from the very beginning, and we did something that had not been done before. And I can, without ego, with ego placed aside, I can say that we did something that hasn't been done since in quite the same way. And I'm very, very honored, and I'm very, very proud of that legacy. And to see you tonight,
delicious,
and to be invited to the GLAAD Awards makes me geflimped.
Randy, you've done a lot of red carpets. We're on a blue carpet tonight, but at the time when the Village People were receiving awards, you weren't necessarily presented the opportunity to talk about LGBT equality. What do you think got us to that point?
Because people weren't speaking that much about LGBT equality, and I think there were different ways through the decade, the wonderful decade of the 70s, which is about liberation. There were different ways to do it. Some people did it head on, some people marched in the streets, some people did protest, but we kind of saw, I did, from my perspective, and when you're in a family or in a group, everybody, there's 6 of us, and so we all saw it differently. But I think the way I actually saw what we were doing was to be a little more subtle, and in a positive way, to use the word stealth, because we utilized all of the normal, regular avenues that were available to us, like one of the only 3 networks that you could do television on, ABC, NBC, or CBS. You didn't have all this other stuff where, today you might be doing a reality show that has 300,000 people, or 600,000 people, or 1 million people, but you could be guaranteed for the 4 years that Village People was on television every week, we were on one of those networks, and we got either 30, 35, 40, or 50 million people per viewing. And that was a different way to approach things. And my upbringing is, I never want to offend anybody, I never want to step on anybody's toes. I just want to live a life that is in the light, that is honest, that is part of my own personality, which is pleasant to most people and inoffensive, I hope. And that, for me, I have learned through a 50-year career that I can garner more friends, more fans, and influence people more by being nice and helping people understand why their fears are unfounded. And I think that's what we did. And I've been doing this since 1976. And so that's 40 years that I've been trying to help people understand Listen, this is me. This is the gayest cowboy in the world, certainly since John Wayne died. And there is nothing that at all that you should be afraid of. I'm not going to bite. I'm not going to, do anything to make you mad. All I'm going to do is come out, and for the moment that I'm in front of you, the hour and a half that I might be doing my show in front of you or singing a 3-minute song in front of you, is for you to not think about your Con Ed bill, your electric bill, your mortgage, your car payment, your insurance. My goal is to help you think about what this moment feels like and to have a good time and not worry about your problems. Now, other than that, I'm not a surgeon, I'm not a priest, I'm not a lawyer. I can't get you out of trouble, I can't forgive you for trouble, and I can't repair you if you do get into trouble. But for a moment, if we're together, I want you to think about, do you know the right way to do the letters to YMCA? And that's really my goal. So I haven't had any other kind of surreptitious plan or agenda other than that.
I've got 2 more questions for you.
Oh my God, really?
I'm
schwitzing here.
They're good ones. You'll like these, though.
Can we towel off it? Is it a black towel?
You are a quintessential New Yorker, and you've had the opportunity to see the world with the Village People,
Right.
Japan, Australia.
Yes.
But yet, this is your home. You throw a birthday party in New York every year.
Since 1978 at Studio 54, we've had a birthday party.
And we are at the New York GLAAD Media Awards. What is it about this city that really touches your heart after having the opportunity to see the world, to call this place home, and to grow a garden, I might add?
You know I've got my garden on my rooftop. Because in New York, anybody who lives here instinctively gets the feeling of what New York's about, but anybody who tries to or will go and dig deeper and learn about the history of what New York is, from the moment the Dutch absolutely founded this city, this little Amsterdam, New Amsterdam
is
New
correct.
Amsterdam that became New York, has been, we still live with the spirit of how the Dutch founded this place, as long as it doesn't interfere with commerce. Just about everything can be incorporated into our system, whether it's social things or business policies. I think we have such a legacy to pay to the people who were strong, were brave, and were courageous when they founded the city. I can recommend I think it's Ken Burns made the documentary. It's a 13-part series on New York, which tells you the history of New York. And if you're a New Yorker, if you see this documentary, you will understand why you love New York City. And if you're not a New Yorker, you will understand why you love New York so much and why it is such a magnet to everybody from around the globe, because everybody wants to, if everybody doesn't want to live in New York, everybody in the world wants to come here and have the experience. And I'm so blessed and fortunate to have had my career here and my apartment here since 1974.
Now here's the last one. I'm sneaking one in.
I'm
sneaking one in there earlier. Are there tulips in your garden? Speaking of New Amsterdam.
I don't do tulips. I don't do tulips and daffodils and those plants that come up in the early spring and only last a couple of days. I have hibiscus, I have mandevillas, I have honeysuckle, I have arborvitaes, I have Carolina jasmine, I have all kinds of other plants. I have tomatoes. I have a ton of other stuff.
Now we're celebrating the GLAAD Media Awards Excellence in Media and LGBT community. Where would you like to see us going forward? What's next?
I would like for it to go forward where it's not necessary for people to really delineate distinguish their differences, but celebrate their differences. I would like for it to be a celebration of that, and not feeling like. And that's a goal. I mean, that's, because for someone who's lived through all of this, I would like for us all to celebrate ourselves, especially in this great country. Thank you.
Thank you, Randy.